welcoming you to chair yoga for Waldenstroms. Today's class is going to be gentle, and we're going to do a lot of breathing today. Some of us here in the live class today are talking about feeling really low energy and also being affected by heat across the country. So we will be moving slowly and mindfully, taking those two things into consideration. And I might just have a few yoga tools for you that can address both of those issues. And they might be the same tool that could address both fatigue and overheating. And it might have to do with breathing. So we'll see what that ends up being. I bet you know what it is. Maybe some of you know what it is already because we've done this cooling breath before. But let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of basic breath awareness. Basic breath awareness, you can practice this anytime you need to turn inwards and gather your strength, gather your peace of mind. So I like to start by just noticing my feet on the earth. And I might have to actually stomp my feet a little bit to kind of really get that connection firmed up. So I've got my feet stomping on the earth. Here I am. And then I'll let my feet rest. I might just tilt my feet a few times, lifting the toes, lifting the heels, and just really feeling into that connection. So we'll be just continuously anchoring down through the feet and the lower limbs while we do our session today. So let's go ahead and just get settled, noticing the spine, noticing the shoulders. Are you like me? Do the shoulders drift up towards the ears of their own accord? So you might shrug those shoulders up, back, and down a few times just and get embodied in this area so you can notice. And we're just beginning with some basic breath awareness, and this always starts with my posture so that I can enjoy my breath a little bit more. If it's in your practice, you could close your eyes or shift the gaze down towards the earth, softening the gaze. And I'm just going to take a couple of clearing, cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Here I am, arriving, breathing in, breathing out. Just noticing what it feels like for me to breathe in, breathe out. Continuing to breathe at my own pace. And I'm not looking to win any breathing contest. I would like my breath to feel easy as it flows in and flows out. Can I ask my belly to soften? Can I feel that expanse of the chest lift? And as I breathe in and out, can I just stay with the thread of breathing? Observing what it is I want to observe. And I might enjoy actually counting my breaths as a way to stay more present. And this is a great way to combat anxiety, I have found, is counting breaths. So I'm breathing in 1, breathing out 1, inhale 2, exhale 2, whatever pace feels comfortable. Counting inwardly to 5. And letting that breath all the way out. Maybe taking one more and letting this breath release with a sigh. An audible sigh. Okay. If you're wearing glasses, you may want to take those glasses off. We're going to rub the hands together, infusing my hands with care and kindness that I will direct towards myself, and cupping those palms loosely over the eyes. In this moment, I can help myself. I can turn to the practices of breathing, of self-care, and of awareness, rolling the eyes around, resting the eyes, and turning my attention inward to how am I feeling? What do I need? You could stay here with the palms covering the eyes, or you could begin to massage the face, the forehead, wherever feels good. Eyes could stay closed, or eyes could begin to open. Smoothing out the brow, releasing tension in the jaw. All right, welcoming you, Anne and friend. And maybe there is a little bit of massage you'd like to do in the shoulders, the upper shoulders or the neck. So just getting embodied and beginning to become aware of how I'm feeling and what I need. Today, through our practice, a very gentle chair yoga practice that will help address fatigue and perhaps overstimulation from heat of the weather. Okay, so when you're ready, you can just take those glasses back on, and we'll do some simple arm movements and then return to the breath, a breathing exercise. Cooling breath, it's called. So let's just get the body moving, the lymph fluid pumping, the blood flowing a little bit. I'm going to lift my arms up halfway, shoulder height, and then bring my arms slowly down. So just a nice, slow, gentle practice today. We're inhaling, lifting, palms up, exhaling, palms down. Breathing in and out at my own pace. I might go up a little bit higher, or maybe it's just one arm that I'm using today. Taking really, really good care of yourself, whatever it is that you need. That could include skipping something that we're doing or doing something different from what we're doing. Breathing in, arms rising, maybe up a little higher. Up as far as you can go, and we can bring the hands to heart center, reaching up and grabbing a little bit of energy, bringing it into our being, using the power of the mind to create the conditions that are therapeutic. Maybe you want to do a couple more of these arm salutes. Just reaching up and grabbing whatever it is you need or are looking for today. All right, so we've done a few arm salutes just to get the body moving. I want to share with you a cooling breath. It's called Sitali or Shitali breath that is done by creating a little straw out of your tongue and sipping in the air as it cools as it goes across the tongue and is drawn into your system. Now, some of us cannot do this rolling the tongue up, and if that's you, you can sort of suck the air through your teeth. So those are two ways you can draw in breath, and sometimes this can dry out your mouth a little bit. So we'll just do 5 breaths, either through the tube of your tongue, inhaling, exhaling out of the nose. So we're retaining it. We're breathing in through the tube, exhaling through the nose. Maybe you don't feel comfortable using the tongue, and you can draw the breath in across the teeth. Out through the nose. So this is a cooling breath practice called Sitali. Maybe it cools for you, maybe it doesn't. Through the tongue or through the teeth. You can try 1 or 2 more of those. Can be useful for those of us who also experience hot flashes or even night sweats. And this was taught to me throughout the yoga therapy training program for those 2 conditions. And then some of us are just having really high temperatures where we live, and that might be a nice practice to try. So that's a little cooling breath tool for you. You can stop at any time and do that breath practice throughout our session today. So let's get moving. I'm gonna stretch my right arm out to the right. And I'm gonna open up my fingers as wide as can be, tipping the fingers back towards my face. Right, so I'm getting a really big stretch for my wrist. And then I'll make a fist around my thumb, drop those knuckles down. So I'm breathing in, lifting, spreading. Breathing out, fist down. You've got it, and one more. Nice to see you, Marty. So glad you're here. And let's go ahead and keep that arm lifted. I'm going to tilt my left ear away from the shoulder. Both shoulders are relaxed to whatever degree is possible. And we'll just create little circles here. Little self-care circles. And those circles can move downward little by little. My feet are still anchoring down. And my breath is still moving. And welcoming you, Pamela. Just getting warmed up here. We're going to tuck that arm behind the back or rest it on the hip. And just spin the chin down. So I'm peeking at my left shoulder and taking a couple of easy breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And then returning to center. And I always love to just notice the difference between my sides. And I can really feel a difference, and I'm desperate to do the other side now. So I want to feel that vitality, that energy moving. So stretching that arm out to the side, lots of space between the fingers. Fingertips pointing back so you feel the work in the wrist. And then we're creating a fist around the thumb and dropping the knuckles down as far as can go. Breathing in, lifting, spreading. Breathing out, dropping down. And one more big stretch, those fingertips and fist going down. We'll keep the palm lifted and tilt that right ear to the right shoulder, just a little bit, circling the palm, making any modifications if you feel this isn't for you, if you're managing any kind of neck issues or shoulder issues. Little self-care circles moving ever downward as I breathe and keep my feet connected. Maybe I'm ready to tuck the arm behind the back. Spin the chin down and take a couple of breaths here, in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And then I'll come back and I'll just open up both arms. Maybe I can bring both arms back a little bit and lift my heart. So I'm doing a mini back bend here. The chin could stay level with the earth, especially if you're caring for neck issues, right? Or you might lift the chin a little bit. And then I'll move my hands together, interlacing the fingers, pulling the arms away from the body. So it's just creating some space in that upper body. You got it. Inhaling and opening, arching the back, energizing through this back bend. And then we'll interlace. Very gently pull the arms away. And we'll take one more of those. Lifting, ready for what's coming, without judgment, interlacing those fingers, pulling the arms away. And then I'll go ahead and press the palms away and juice up my fingers. Juicing up my fingers. And I might take a moment to roll my wrists. In both directions. And then I might just do a little finger work today. So I'm going to be opening my hand one finger at a time and then closing it and just doing what's possible for me. So maybe some of the fingers are not able to individuate, and that's fine. We're doing what we can do, even if it's just closing and opening the whole entire hand. Right? So that's just, we're just working towards finding a little bit of individuation if we have peripheral neuropathy in the hands or osteoarthritis in the hands. And then I'm going to rub my hands together. And rubbing my hands together, once again, infusing my hands with kindness and care and compassion towards myself. Kind of hard sometimes, isn't it? And then I might take a moment to just massage my hands. Love doing this with some lotion or oil, and I also love doing that with my feet before I go to bed at night. Putting on a pair of socks and climbing into bed with, oiled up feet can be a wonderful, caring thing to do for yourself as part of your routine. And some of you are nodding like, you do that, and that's awesome. So glad to hear that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some whole body movements. I'm going to move my chair back, and I'm going to take a little bit of distance between my feet here. A little bit of distance, maybe I take a sip of water. If I need to hydrate, that's always a possibility. If I don't have any water, I can go get some. So sitting with my feet rooting down, and my seat will be rooted down as well as I move my torso in a circular direction. And if you're feeling like you have excess energy, you need to release, you could stand. And you could do this just by moving the hips. So this could be, instead of a torso circle, this could be a hip circle. Yeah, you got it. Which we will also do in a moment. So I love this very simple movement. It helps me wake up my spine, and I can feel it lubricating my hip joints a little bit too. Can move in the other direction. And don't forget to breathe. If I had a parrot that could talk, that is what I would teach it to say. Don't forget to breathe. That'd be funny. All right, maybe I only just made myself laugh. So we're coming back to center, and I'm going to get into some side movement here, side body stretching. You could lift the right arm up and lean over to the left a little bit, stretch and reach those fingertips towards the ceiling. And releasing, switching sides, left arm lift, leaning to the right. See how that feels? Reaching up towards the ceiling with the left fingertips. And we're moving from side to side. Whole body is feeling this. not just the side body, right? But I can feel the stretch from my fingertip to my foot or my sit bone if I'm sitting. I could do this a few times. Very good. We'll come back, grab onto the chair if you're seated, and walk those feet in and out a few times. So stepping in and stepping out. And if you're standing, you could just walk in place a little bit. Stepping in and stepping out. And then I'll just transition to marching in place, using my arms. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Keeping the core fairly stabilized. And there might be just a nice sort of flow of breath with this. You might want to exhale with some sound out the mouth. And that can be also a way to cool down a little bit. You can breathe in through the nose and out of the mouth, through a little pursed lip. All right, and then let's come to stop and just stretch that right leg out. The heel on the earth. And I'm going to be pointing and flexing. So waking up my ankle, waking up my shin, my calf, my toes, just doing whatever is possible, focusing on what I can do today. And maybe as part of this movement, I could also spread my toes and curl my toes. Lifting, spreading, pointing, curling, and maybe one more foot pump, and we'll switch sides. So left leg out to the left, or left leg straight out with the heel on the earth, just pumping. And as I do this, I'm just, if I need to create a little more connection with my foot because I have a numbness or lack of feeling or awareness of my foot, I could look down at my foot and, send a little compassion and love down there as I curl and spread a couple more times. All right. What would it be like for me to stretch both legs straight out in front of me and sit on the edge of my chair? If I don't feel comfortable doing that, I don't have to. And I'm going to work on spreading my fingers and my toes at the same time, and then curling my fingers and my toes at the same time. So I'm lifting, spreading, and then curling and tucking. Breathing in, breathing out. Right, so I'm just lifting, opening my hands and closing my hands a couple times, feet and hands at the same time. Maybe if you feel safe doing so. And I'll take one more like that, and then I'll come back and I'll take a moment to get a little sip of water here. Taking a moment to get a sip of water. Maybe the toes spread, maybe they don't. But here I am, I'm sitting, and I'm going to take my arms right in front of me like I'm hanging on to two subway straps. Hanging on to two subway straps. And I'm going to walk opposite arm, opposite leg out, opposite arm, opposite leg out, and then opposites in, opposites in, opposites out, opposites in. Core is staying nice and steady. My breath is nice and steady. And maybe I'd like to gaze at something other than the monitor, other than the computer, and find a little softness to my gaze. Awareness of my core, awareness of my limbs. have to think about that one. I was thinking about what could I add to this? What if I were also spreading and curling? That would be impossible. I don't think I could do that at the same time. All right, I think that that will do it. I'll have to practice that one and get back to you. So option, yeah, right, all spread, all come back. That would be fun, Anne. I'm gonna give you the option to stand up for some standing poses now, or stay seated if that's better for you. If you're managing really low energy, you might want to stay seated today. We're not gonna do too much in a standing pose, but that could be good if you're working on balance issues, or you would like to strengthen bone. So getting a little bit of weight bearing in could be useful. Either way, we are going to kind of come to a nice still posture just for a moment, whether you're seated or standing. And if I'm standing, I might have a chair at the ready here while we get into our standing or seated mountain pose. So I'm noticing my feet, and I'm just sending my awareness down to my feet. And maybe there's not as much information that I can draw in through nerves, but I can use the power of my mind to connect with my feet. The legs are strong, so I'm lifting my kneecaps. The legs are engaged. And noticing my heart, my chest, see if I could lift that up a little bit and let the shoulders soften down. Energy through the fingertips. And then finally, my friends, what am I doing with my head, with my chin, with my neck? Can I tuck my chin a little bit rather than jutting it forward? Can I have a little bit of height there, like I've got a string coming from the top of my head, lifting me higher? And then from here, I'm going to close my eyes. Chair is there if I need it. And I'm going to take some breaths. As I breathe in, I'm drawing energy up from the earth into my body. As I breathe out, I'm grounding myself into this nurturing presence. Breathing in, breathing out, sending those roots down and out. And maybe you would like to open the eyes and begin to move the whole body once again. So we're going to inhale, lift the arms up. As we exhale, we're going to bend the knees and bring the hips back, the arms coming down at the sides. Whole body motion, lifting the energy, breathing in and breathing out. Maybe if you have knee issues, you don't bend too deeply. Just doing maybe 5 more of these chair pulses, right? Or as many as feels possible to you today. Feeling that strength in the legs when you come down, feeling the strength in the glute muscles when you come down. And maybe your gaze can just stay sort of steady at one thing straight ahead as you do the remaining 2 of these. You got it. Really nice. Okay, so I'm going to hold onto my chair, and I'm going to lift one leg up, and I'm going to keep that leg lifted. Maybe that other arm goes out to the side. So I'm standing on one leg, and I've got my hand on my chair, and I'm really using this hip flexor. And I might just kick that leg out and bring it back, kick it out, bring it back a couple times, kind of hard. And then I'll just switch it up. So I'm lifting my left leg up. I'm holding onto my chair, kicking the leg out, drawing it back in. So I want to have support for this. I need support for this. All right, and we'll do that again. Lifting that right leg up and kicking it out as far as you can, bringing it back. I'm holding on the whole time. All right, it's tough stuff. And then we'll kick it out, kick that left leg out. So it's a balance challenge, but I'm just working on strengthening. And then it will feel so, so good to do our warrior one pose because we just worked the hip flexors. So I'm going to step my right foot forward and bring my left foot back at an angle. And I'm bending into my right knee, hips pointing forward. Glute muscle, left glute is squeezing. An option to bring the hands at heart center or keep the hands on the chair. Pulling the belly towards the spine. Feet on the earth. Crown is reaching heavenward. And I could just take 1 or 2 breaths here, easy breaths out through the mouth. Beautiful, friends. Let's come out of that, shortening the stance, both legs straight. Option to bring the hands onto the chair, or you could rest the hands on the small of the back or the sacrum. And I'm engaging that front leg and that back leg so they're strong as I take a bow forward. And I'm leading with my heart, not my chin. Please tuck the chin. As far as feels safe to me. You got it. And coming up when I'm ready. And between sides, I'll just take a little bit of a wider stance and we'll do some side bending. Lifting that right arm up, lifting that left arm up. And as you move from side to side, try to let the opposite shoulder and arm be really relaxed. So letting go, bringing the space in the shoulders. And last one. All right, and then we'll come to our warrior one with the left foot forward, right foot back at a little bit of an angle and bending into the left knee. Can you squeeze your right glute muscle? Pull the belly towards the spine, hands at heart center or onto the chair. If you feel wobbly here, walk that left foot a little farther to the left, and that will create a wider base. So I'm finding a couple of easy breaths here. Strong through my legs and feet, nice and light and lifted in my heart and the crown of my head. You got it. Beautiful, Allison. And then we're releasing slowly from this, shortening the stance. Maybe we're holding onto the chair or resting the hands on the back. Maybe the opposite hand can be on top from what you did last time. As we lean the heart forward, chin tucked. And we're just finding that sweet spot where we feel like we're getting a healthy stretching sensation, but we're not moving through discomfort or pain or depleting our energy too much, right? Hard little spot to find. On, nice and slow. And then when you're ready, you can go for a little walk with me, opposite arm, opposite leg. And as we do this, we're going to begin to just slow it down. Slow it down like you're in slow motion. You got it. And maybe I stay lifted, just tricking you into doing some balance here. You've got it. Only if you feel safe doing that. All right, one more on each side. And We'll come back to our wider stance and we'll just do some hip circles. Finding the breath. Moving in the other direction. And then we'll take one little sip of water if you need it. And you can meet me in a seated posture or do any other standing postures your body's asking for. Like a downward dog, we didn't really do one of those. That could feel nice. If you're ready to sit, you can just come to sit mindfully. Maybe you want to strengthen on the way there and do a little extra chair pose. Coming to sit, we'll take our usual hip stretch. So that right ankle crossed over the left knee, and I'm taking a moment to care for my right foot, my right lower limb. Maybe it's a massage, maybe it's tapping, whatever feels best to you. Some of you like tapping, some of you don't. Any little trouble spots where you tend to have issues, you could spend a little extra time there. If you'd like to move into the hip stretch with me, you can begin to do that just by reaching the heart forward. Softening your shoulders, softening your gaze. Finding 3 easy breaths. Coming up to sit, we'll cross the knee over, so we still have that right leg on top of the left. I'm going to use my core muscles to twist just a little bit to the right, twisting a little bit to the right. Maybe I can peek over that right shoulder to give my neck a little stretch as well. Crown of the head lifting on my inhale. Twisting a little deeper on my exhale for one more breath. And then flowing back to center and switching sides. Get that left ankle over the right, or modifying however I need to, and caring for that left foot, left lower limb. Or maybe you don't have any issues in the foot, and that would be a moment to be grateful for no issues in the foot today. Moving into our hip stretch with a little reach forward of the heart and a softening of the shoulders. I am exactly where I need to be right now. Sitting up when you're ready and crossing the knee over when you're ready. Taking that breath in, I love to exhale as I twist. So we're exhaling all the air out with that twist and then continuing to inhale the crown of the head high. Exhale, peeking over the left shoulder. Using those core muscles, one more breath. And then slow release back to center. Taking any other movements the body's asking for. Maybe it's a big stretch. Maybe you want to give yourself a big hug. And a million gold stars for taking such exquisite care of yourself today. And we can close our session today with a little bit more breathing together. So I'm relaxing my hands into my lap. And once again, I'm anchoring down through my feet, my seat. I could soften my gaze or close my eyes. As I breathe in, I could think the word so. As I breathe out, I could think the word hum. So hum. I am all that is. Breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. It's taking a few more so hum breaths. And then once again, if you're wearing glasses, you could take them off, rub the hands together. Cup the palms over the eyes, caring for myself. Taking this compassion and this kindness with me to the rest of my day. Let this practice begin a ripple of kindness. If I'm kind to myself, that can ripple out towards others. We set the example by how we care for ourselves. Blinking the eyes open and maybe bringing those hands to heart center. And recognizing that we are not alone. We are part of a community of those who share this diagnosis of Waldenstrom's and their caregivers, their friends, their family. So taking a moment to kind of widen out your awareness to include our whole entire rare community. And we'll close our session today with the sound of 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Shanti means peace, and you can just listen or join in on your end. Breathing in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanking you so much for your practice today, friends. Namaste.